In the heart of Prague, where cobblestone streets twisted like forgotten stories and ancient clocks ticked with uncanny precision, there was a bookshop known as the Timeless Quill. It was said to contain books so rare and mysterious that some claimed they had the power to change the past. Nina Marek, a historian with a passion for unraveling the secrets of the past, stumbled upon the shop on a rainy evening. Her umbrella had turned inside out, and her shoes were soaked, but the warm glow from the shop's windows beckoned her. Inside, the scent of old paper and leather bindings wrapped around her like a familiar embrace. The shopkeeper, a wiry man with spectacles perched on the tip of his nose, greeted her with a knowing smile. "You've come for the butterfly book," he said, his voice soft yet certain. Nina blinked. "The what?" Without another word, he handed her a leather-bound volume. Its cover was embossed with the image of a butterfly mid-flight. As she opened it, the pages shimmered, revealing a story written in a language she couldn't identify, but somehow understood. It told of a man named Elias, a clockmaker in 1893 Prague, whose love for a woman named Lenka had ended in tragedy. "It's not just a story," the shopkeeper said. "It's a window." That night, Nina couldn't stop thinking about the book. She felt an inexplicable connection to its tale, as though she had lived it herself. The next morning, she returned to the shop, but the Timeless Quill was gone. In its place stood a boarded-up storefront. Panic mingled with curiosity as she clutched the book tighter. When she returned home, she opened it again, and the pages seemed to glow. Suddenly, the world tilted, and she felt herself falling. When she awoke, she was no longer in her apartment. She stood in a bustling Prague square, gas lamps flickering in the twilight. Horse-drawn carriages clattered over cobblestones, and the air smelled of coal and fresh bread. 1893, she whispered, her heart racing. Nina wandered the streets until she found a small clockmaker's shop. Inside, a man with sharp features and kind eyes was bent over a delicate mechanism. She recognized him instantly from the book's illustrations. "Elias," she said, her voice barely audible. He looked up, startled. "Do I know you?" "Not yet," Nina replied, her words trembling. "But I think I'm here to help you." Over the days that followed, Nina and Elias grew close. She learned that he was in love with Lenka, a seamstress who lived above the bakery across the street. But their love was fraught with obstacles. Lenka's father disapproved of Elias, considering him too poor and ambitious for his daughter. Nina's heart ached as she watched Elias and Lenka steal moments together, their love so pure yet so fragile. She knew how their story ended. Lenka would be forced into an arranged marriage, and Elias, heartbroken, would throw himself into the river. But she couldn't bear to let history repeat itself. One evening, as Elias and Nina worked side by side in his shop, she told him about the book and her journey through time. At first, he was skeptical, but as she recounted details of his life that no stranger could know, his disbelief turned to awe. "If you're here to change my fate," he said, "then tell me what to do." Nina devised a plan. She convinced Elias to write a letter to Lenka, asking her to meet him at the Charles Bridge under the cover of darkness. There, they would flee the city together, escaping the chains of their circumstances. But as the appointed night arrived, fate seemed determined to intervene. Lenka's father discovered the letter and locked her in her room. Elias waited on the bridge, the cold seeping into his bones as hours passed with no sign of her. Despair began to take hold. Nina, however, refused to give up. She climbed the trellis outside Lenka's window, scraping her hands as she pried it open. "Lenka," she whispered urgently, "you have to come with me. Elias is waiting." Lenka's tear-streaked face lit with hope. Together, they slipped into the night, reaching the bridge just as Elias turned to leave. "Lenka," he called, running to her. They embraced, their love defying the forces that had sought to keep them apart. The three of them fled Prague, finding refuge in a small village nestled in the countryside. There, Elias and Lenka built a life together, their happiness a testament to the power of love and determination. Nina stayed with them for a time, but she knew her place was not in their world. One morning, as the first light of dawn painted the horizon, Nina opened the butterfly book once more. The pages glowed, and she felt herself being pulled back. When she awoke, she was in her apartment, the book resting on her lap. But something was different. The final pages of the story had changed, now recounting a life where Elias and Lenka had lived happily ever after. A knock at her door startled her. She opened it to find a man standing there, his features familiar and his eyes kind. "I found this in an old shop," he said, holding a small clock with intricate carvings. "It made me think of you." Nina's breath caught. The man's name was Elias. And as their eyes met, she realized that some loves were meant to echo across time, finding their way back no matter the odds.